Aloha, hey, it's Julie Zimelis and 365 Hawaii with Real Broker, and we are doing our around the robin island-wide update for November 2024. And today we have, and you guys can raise your hands when I introduce you. We have got Delaney and Branham, Real Broker. We have Amber Haley, Real Broker. We have Jenna Mahoney, KW, and Eric Zimelis, Real Broker. And we've got giving you the money shot is Travis Green with Guild Mortgage. And so we hope to get our buddy Andy Madrid in here to give you guys some information about South Hawaii. But what we're going to do is we're going to start in the Waikoloa Kohala region with Jana. Then we're going to go to East Hawaii with Amber, shoot back up and around and talk to Delaney about neighborhoods. And Eric might be touching on different things to do with the market. And then we're going to tell you about the money. So let's start with Jana. What's going on in the Kohala and Waikoloa Village area?
Okay, aloha. So in Waikoloa Village right now, there are 25 active residential listings, which is a lot. That's more than we've had for quite some time. And 3 of those are under 700,000. And then we've got one that's 2,600,000. So that's kind of an outlier, but they go from 624 to 2,600,000. But I'd take that 2.6 out and say 1,990,000 because those ones on the very higher end are the bigger new construction. Average days on the market for these is 115 days, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Median is 1,150,000. Sold last month was only 8. So we only had 8 that sold last month from 3 to 156 days on market, from 795 to 1,295,000. And the sales price compared to the original price was 97.48%. So still, 3% on sale, 2.5% on sale. So I went back and looked at October of 2023 to see what happened with sold houses, and we only had 7.
Yeah.
So about the same, 7 last year, 8 this year, 700 to 1,397. So pretty similar, not a lot of changes year over year, although I do think we have more active listings right now, and we have more listings that are a little bit more reasonably priced. If you're looking under 700,000, there's 3 options, and one of them is a fixer, but has a lot of potential. And Julie, I showed one of your people that one.
Yeah, that one. There's so much potential. It's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, right. And then let's see. In September, I went ahead and looked at September. There was just one that sold in September. And so that was pretty weird.
Yeah. But it sounds like in general, fall has been slow.
Just really slow. And, like we were talking about earlier, I think everybody's kind of holding their breath right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have some things on the market that are actively listed. There's just not a lot of activity. Now, this one is a little bit surprising. Waikoloa Village condos, 27 active listings right now, which is quite a lot. And I think what's happening, the HOA fees have gone up because of this whole insurance kerfuffle. And so, people are just listing their condos and they're staying on the market longer. 78 days is the average days on the market right now for active condos.
Wow.
So that's a lot. You've got 379 to 679 for those 27 condos.
Okay. So what's the median?
480.
Okay. And how's that compared to, like, say, a year ago?
So last year we had, let's see, where was it? 4. There were 4 that were sold.
Okay. So 4 that were sold. Now there's 27 on the market.
Right.
Okay. So people who are watching this, there's opportunities for probably negotiation.
Yeah, I think now's the time. And just so many on the market. You're looking at Montalani Residential, which they have 8 active listings right now. Those go from 4.6 million to 32 million. Wow. That 32 million's been hanging around for a while. And 279 days on market is the average there, which is to be expected in the higher price points. The median's 8.7.
Mhm.
And Monolani condos, we have 27 right now. Again, that's
27 in Monolani.
that's a lot of condos. And they
Wow.
1,235,000 to 3,003,000 with a median of 1,640,000. We've got 67 is the average days on market for Monolani. So that's kind of having the same things happening with, I think, condos in Waikoloa Village and in the resort area. They're just hanging around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Sold in October were three in Monolani, 1,395,000 to 2,286,000 and 59 days on market. So we got 27 for sale. We sold three.
Yeah, wait. When Amber and Lance had their individual market updates this last week, we asked them to kind of like it's called prognosticate on what the next few months was going to bring. Do you think that when people come in for the holidays, that some of that stuff will get absorbed?
Oh yeah, I think that always happens. I think that's, things just get a little busier now. We're kind of in a
A
in a
little,
little bit. September's always kind of a lull, and October it starts picking up. It should be better by now, and it might be because these are October numbers.
right?
So I think that that's probably the case, and it's somewhat normal.
Yeah.
I think maybe
Well, it just sounds also that before everybody gets here for the Christmas holidays, if you're thinking about buying a condo in Waikoloa Village or Waikoloa in general, this might be a good opportunity to jump in at this point. So,
right,
yeah.
right. And I just sold a condo in Kona, and it was on the market 0 days because it was priced right. So
Oh,
that still happens, and
yeah.
you can price it out and say this is what your HOA fees are going to cost, and this is your electricity, and these are your fees, and you can figure it out, and it's still
Pencils.
pencil. Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Waikoloa Resort condos. So that's like Fairway Villas at Waikoloa and the Shores. They're 30 active right now. They range from 875 to 3,975,000. Those are the Kolea. Average days on market 104. October of 24, the last month, there were three that were sold. October of 23, only one.
Mm. So there we go.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
so that
we were also talking about what a lot of sellers, sometimes sellers are watching these videos as well, just to kind of get a flavor of the market, that understanding how long it's going to take you to sell your house once you put it on the market. When you're saying 100 days, that's
right.
they just need to like think about that. And that maybe if they don't want to be 100 days, they need to price it a little bit more aggressively.
And from what I've seen, it's really difficult for sellers to realize that bump that we had is over.
Mm,
And so they are like, oh, well, this one sold 2 years ago for X. Well, it was bananas a couple of years ago, and it's calmed down now. And there were zero on the market, and you would have multiple offers. There was this frenzy going on, and now it's not the case. So things are sitting around a little bit longer, and sometimes the sellers have to kind of come down a few notches on the price before we get in the game,
yeah.
which is new, right?
Yeah.
We haven't had that for a couple of years. Let's see. Puako residential, there's 9. Nothing sold last month. So those are the 2 million to 28 million, those big houses down on the Puako Beach Drive. And then the last thing I pulled up was the Kohala Resort, Kohala Residential. So Kohala Ranch, Kohala Kai, Kohala Waterfront, Kohala by the Sea, those neighborhoods up there. There's only 3 active listings. It's pretty,
Slow.
slow. Well, there's just not much on the market. People are not moving out of there as much. I think just one sold in October, and it was that big one that was, it had like the golf course, and it had,
How much does it sell for?
oh, hang on, 3,299,000.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So, that, no, that's not right. It's sold for, sorry, 3,650,000.
Okay.
But it started off when they very first listed it at 4,650,000.
Oh, that's interesting information. Okay, you
Yeah.
guys, there's a sale on
So
property.
it dropped a lot. I think probably it might have been priced very aggressively in the beginning.
Mhm.
And it was on the market a really long time. So that went on the market like, oh gosh, at least 2 years ago, I think.
Wow.
So,
There we go. Okay.
okay.
Okay, and then real quick, for people who are coming in for the holidays who are going to be staying up on the Kohala coast, you're saying that there's things to look at, and might be the opportunity if they want to look at some of those homes to contact you so that they can actually see what's going on with the market. Yes?
There's a lot to look at right now. Definitely a lot to look at, both in residential and in condos. So we got a lot going on.
Okay, so as you guys are entering the holidays, if you're thinking about coming to look at houses and buying, a good opportunity to get your mortgage plans in place or bring your cash and, get a hold of Jen ahead of time so that people can schedule this out so she can tell you a little bit more about what's on the market. Okay, so thank you, Jana. Appreciate you. And then we're going to over.
Julie, one thing on that, when you're showing properties like condos that are in a short-term vacation rental program, it's kind of difficult sometimes to get in there because
they're in Christmas because they're all
yeah. So most of them are probably close to 100% occupied in those months. So you might have like a 4-hour window while they're cleaning but after someone's checked out, before someone's checked in. So it is a good idea to call as soon as possible and see if there's one in particular when you can get in.
There you go. So I'm trying to see vacation condos for investment property between Christmas and New Year's is very difficult. Keep that in mind, everybody. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so we are going over to our buddy at Spotlight. There we go. Amber, hold on. There we go. There you go.
Hello. I love that a reminder to unmute just came up. Did you do that, Julie?
Yes.
Speaking and so useful.
I'm getting clever with how to handle all this stuff now.
She's a pro. You've only done about 1 million of these.
Yeah.
You put in the job moderating. All right. So I'm going to bring you the stats from East Hawaii. So we're going to talk about 2 main districts. And now that we're in fall, and today, just on a side note for everybody, is the first day that in my office all day I wore a sweater. I was only mildly warm, but it just felt like fall vibes. So fall is in full swing. A little bit of context for our stats this month. We did talk about this on our East Hawaii market update show with just me and Julie a couple weeks ago. But just keep in mind the stats that I'm going to be giving everybody are for single family home sales. So that's the most of probably what those of you watching are interested in. And we don't really have a lot of condo sales over in East Hawaii compared to West Hawaii. So we focus on single family homes for these updates. But also these stats are coming from the month of October. So Jana mentioned, how September, like starting in September, things, it's kind of normal to slow down. But this also, just remember the elephant in the room. This is was an election year, is an election year. And a lot of people wait in the weeks coming up, the months coming up prior to an election before making big decisions like buying a home. So I think it was, of no surprise that it was maybe even slower than it normally would be. So I'm giving you stats for October, which were the weeks directly before the presidential election. So keep that in mind when you're hearing these stats, because historically, when we look at election years, home prices and home sales usually go up the year after the election year. That is true for the last 8 election years and years after them, with the exception of 2008, 2009. So just keep that in mind as we're making our little predictions and talking about what went on this past October in the real estate market on the Big Island here. So we'll start with the South Hilo district. For October, there were 21 single family homes that sold, and that was a little bit less than the month before and the year before. So last October, a little bit less going on. That's pretty in line with what the context I just gave you all. And the median price was $545,000, which was down from the previous month where it was $600,000. And a year ago, it was $565,000. So down from both of those, both the month before and a year ago. And the list to sales price was 95%. So that's the final sales price compared to what the property was listed for. So I know a lot of you are really interested in, like, what do I have to offer on a house? So that kind of gives you a little bit of more info on this little snapshot of data here. And our days on market for South Hilo were, maybe kind of surprisingly, only 36 days for the month of October. Although the month before it was only 33 days, but a year ago it was 71 days on market. So that's kind of an interesting stat there, I thought, when I looked at that data. Now, when we go down just a little south of Hilo, we go to the Puna district. That's where most of our transactions take place over here in East Hawaii. And if we're looking at single family homes, the median sales price was $393,000 for the month of October. There were 72 single family homes that sold in Puna. And that is down, also down in Puna from the month before, where it was $400,000, and also up from a year ago when it was $355,000. Now, one of the most interesting stats, I think, to look at on these market updates that's really relevant for all of you watching is the days on market. So we had a pretty long days on market for the month of October in the Puna district. And it was actually, am I right about this? Besides the South Kona district, it was the longest of any district on the island on average. And that was 70 days on market.
Wow. Because remember that you guys had the fastest moving market, when in the last 2 years, it was like, boom, 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 people were buying all these houses in Puna. So
yeah, so fast, so fast. Yeah,
wow.
During 2021, 2022. So it's really slowed down. If we look at the month before, it was 52, and a year ago it was 68 again. So it's slower than both of those months. So that's pretty interesting. And then if you look at, I always like to mention the neighborhood that has the most transactions, because it's almost like its own town, even though it's not. It's just a very, very, very large subdivision, Hawaiian Paradise Park. Because when you look at the Puna district, you've got, like we talk about a lot, you have 3 different lava zones, and lava zones 1 and 2. Hi, sweetie. My dog wants to share the market update with you all. Lava zones 1 and 2 have a lot less value. So the average sales price or median sales price is significantly lower than lava zone 3. So neighborhood called Hawaiian Paradise Park, it's all lava zone 3. It's where there are more single family homes sold in the Puna district in lava zone 3 than anywhere else. And so just to compare that a little bit, the average days on market for just Hawaiian Paradise Park single family homes is about 82 right now. So even more than that 70 that I brought up for the month of October for single family homes in the whole district. And the median price and average price, they're almost exactly the same, median and average, right now are $625,000. So quite a bit higher than when we look at the district as a whole. So I like to point that out to people because it really depends on where you're looking in Puna, what the price point is at.
Yeah. Well, let's see if it's because of the election, and maybe, things will pick up as we head into 2025. And so, well, there you go. Again, people, there's opportunities there in the market. Talk to Amber. She'll help you get those opportunities into your stocking for the new year. So thanks, Amber. I appreciate that. Okay. Then we're going up to Delania. Let's see. Hold on.
All right. So we're going to look at our 3 specific markets and kind of dial down in there. The first one we're looking at is Pualani Estates. There for the month of October, and there's currently 3 active listings, which is about, I looked back through, and they're usually less than 5 listings in the neighborhood at a time. So that's pretty normal. One is at $995. It has been on the market 213 days with no price reductions. The next one is listed at $997,000. It has been on 202 days.
Oh,
they did do a price reduction, $42,000 price reduction. And then the third one is listed for $1,025,000. It's been on 42 days with no price reduction. That neighborhood, there are a few that have been on for a long time, and what seems like it's happening, and some have been priced a little bit higher, but they're all kind of in the same range. But it seems like a new better one is coming on that's going under contract. So the ones that are not quite as desirable based on the neighborhood are the ones that are kind of hanging out. So like until they start to really reduce the price to meet the demand, they're going to hang in there a little bit. And there's been a few price reductions recently. So the sellers are starting to see like, hey, that one just sold. That one just sold. I need to adjust down from where I thought I could be. There are 2 under contract right now. One is at 999,000. It was on the market for 90 days. This is a prime example. So it was on the market for 2 months. They did a $50,000 price reduction, and about 30 days later, they went under contract. So they kind of, they got the message, come under $1 million.
50,000. Okay, that's the answer. 50,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get under $1 million. But then there's another one for 1,050,000. It was under contract after 4 days on market. Obviously, no price reduction. So
Probably has an amazing view.
Exactly. View, upgraded. So, you just need to price really smart if you want to sell quickly. But I'm seeing a lot of sellers that are okay with just hanging out. They want a number, they're willing to like wait it out and see, and they finally get the pressure builds up at a certain point, and they're finally like, okay, let's get it sold.
Yeah. Hey, so since we're gonna know a little bit more about what's going on in Pualani Estates, are these like long-time residents that are selling now that have had these houses for 5 or 6 years and they're going to make some really good equity, or are these people who've only been there for 2 or 3 years and they just want to do something different? Do you know? Can you tell from the statistics or from what?
Yeah, I have to go in and look at the tax records to see how long they've been in there. I mean, generally that neighborhood is, full-time residential. You can't do short-term rentals in there. So most likely there are people, and honestly, prices haven't, if I go back and look, a year or 2 ago, the prices haven't changed that much. They've come up a little bit, but for people that have bought in the last couple of years, they're not turning around and making.
Yeah. So that's also I'm wondering, you think that some of these sellers are hanging on to the price because they don't want to lose money if they've only few years, because
if they've only been in it, if they haven't had more than probably 4 years to build some equity, then they're maybe hanging out for that price.
Yeah, because this is shot up like 650 to 900 in like 2 minutes, right? After 2019. Yeah,
exactly. So prior to that, but then also too, I think that seller mentality is they see sellers always think their house is worth so much because they have, they're emotionally invested in it. They see all the positives, they have memories. So they're seeing other houses selling for $1 million and they're like, I think I can get $1 million. And we just have, the market's going to be brutally honest and tell them, and sometimes it is little things. Do you have a view? Do you have a bigger yard? Like those little things. Buyers now, I feel like they can be more picky. And so, they are.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one, Ali'ilani. This is the one condo we look at. There are 11 listings, which if I go back to June and July, there were 11 listings in July. April, May had 7. So really since spring of this year, which I think we talked about the fact that it was probably partially due to big insurance. That one got hit because I think it's more long-term residential or it's not a big investment property. People are feeling the effect of that insurance increase. So 11 listings again, 419,000 to 625,000. Of those, 5 have been on the market over 90 days. The rest are under 90 days. So they're turning slowly.
Yeah.
There are 2 under contract. One is at 469. It was on the market for 5 days. The other one is at 569. It went under contract after 50 days on the market and a $29,000 price reduction.
Okay.
And generally the ones that are over 5 are the 3-bedroom, under 5 are usually 2-bedroom. So that's why you get a little bit of that range. There was one sale in October. It sold for $457,500. It was on the market for 74 days. They did do a $7,500 price reduction.
Okay. $7,500. Come on.
Yeah. But I mean, with 11 on the market, the competition's insane. So you've got to
Yeah.
either have a really stellar unit or price
You're
it low
cutting.
or
Yeah.
wait it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is Lokahi Makai. This is another single family residence neighborhood. Julie has a listing in there right now.
How many are in there? Two?
Three.
Three?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. One. No, one active. Sorry.
Is it me? Is it me?
Got the only listing.
I got that listing.
And it's less than the other two that went under contract and sold. So there's one listing for $978,000. It's been on the market 15 days, and they've already done a $20,000.
Yes, they have. So if you guys are watching this and you want a really good house under $1 million in Lokahi, we're your people.
Very cute. There's currently one under contract. It was listed $1,200,000. 35 days on the market before it went under contract, and it did have a $20,000 price reduction. So they were really priced pretty high.
Yeah.
One sold in October, 0 days on market, so it went under contract as it came on. Sold for $1,375,000, but it does have a pool and a really nice view. Because most of the time in that neighborhood, realistically, most of the sales are under $1 million or right at. So to get up to 1.2, 1.3, you've got to really have something extra going on.
I got something extra going on. Me. I'm selling it.
You're under $1 million. You're under $1 million, so you're in the right range.
$1 million.
You're priced well based on this. I mean, the last few sales have been 980, 965, 1,040,000, so 939. I mean, you're priced well.
Okay. Thanks, Delaney.
My opinion.
Okay. Hey, and also, people, Delania is really, really just, I think it's a slight expert on some of these neighborhoods now from having to do these updates all the time. So if you're looking at these neighborhoods, and also, she also lives in South Kona. We've done videos on that. She is an amazing resource for people who are looking for any home in Kona. But those are, she really knows her stuff. So get a chance to hang out with Delania too if you want to use a really good realtor. Okay, so then where does that bring us to? That brings us to, is it mortgage? Oh, Eric Seamless, do you want to do
I can go.
something? Okay.
Yeah, I've got North Hawaii here. And I'll just say that Lance does it better than I do, but here's the numbers in a not so good form. Okay.
You can't start apologizing for yourself.
Yeah, I can't compete with Lance. There's just no way. The guy around forever does. He knows numbers like the back of his head.
Just look like you're drinking a beer and put some jeans on, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, here we go. Ready? Cheers, man.
That's his beer from last week.
Okay. Anyways, moving on here. So we had, we're talking North Kona is where we're talking about. We're residential, and this month there were 32 homes that were sold this month, and a year ago there was 30. Okay, so it's going up a little bit, and the year to date is 356, and that's for residential, and the last year it was 300. So we're moving along, and the median price is 1.1 million for residential, and which is a drop from the previous year, which was 1.23. But it's always it's hard to get it perfectly because when you have the bigger numbers, it tends to skew the numbers around pretty quickly, depending on how many sold. Okay. And then the other question is, how long have they been sitting on the market? And I have got, let's see here, average days on market is 54. And the final list to sales price for residential is 94%. So it gives you an idea. So that's where we stand.
Sale. There we go.
That's where we stand with the residential here in Kona.
No, but do you have anything for Kona? I mean, for the condos?
Oh, condos. Yeah. So there were 24 condos that sold here in Kona this month. And a year ago it was 26. So a small drop. Okay. And there were year to date there's 267 versus 292, so kind of mirroring that drop. Okay, and the average condo price is 617 right now, and a year ago it was 577. So condos have come up, and I don't have the list of sales price or days on market for condo in front of me.
Okay. Okay. But clearly, obviously, some of these complexes. In fact,
Yes.
Eric and I just closed a deal in the Pines, and 3 or 4 more have come on since we got under contract with ours. And the Pines was not one that always had a whole bunch of inventory in it. So there's definitely seems that there's more inventory, some of these bigger complexes coming on.
Yeah, going back to that insurance raise again. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So do you have any other do you have anything else that you want to say about what's happening with the market?
I think we're doing pretty good, actually. There were a lot, you know, it got a lot of the. I agree with everyone else that there's a trepidation of what's going to happen with the election year, and everybody's kind of just trying to figure it all out before they jump back in. And again, we also know, going back to that, you know, there was a large HO because of the insurance raised, particularly for condos. There's a lot of people that are not in a position to be able to hang on to hang on to that. If you're on a fixed income and all of a sudden somebody puts $400 or $500 extra a month on your housing costs, that can be really steep for a lot of people. So I think you're starting to see that through these different things that are happening.
There you go. Good job. Okay, so let's get to the Monday. So let me get our buddy here, spotlight for everybody. Here he is, Travis Green. Okay, so just so you guys know, as you're looking at Travis's face, that if you want to see more fun of Travis, we did a video of predictions and kind of like a recap from the election with Lance last week. And so if you guys want to go back and see that, he added some fun and humor and real life experiences there. And then we also had just a single mortgage update too from Travis. And so Travis, I don't know if anything's changed in the last week and a half, but kind of give an overview and then also what's happened just like recently as well.
Yeah, so the average 30-year fixed rate is hovering still right around 7%, like 7.04, according to Mortgage News Daily. The Freddie Mac and Mortgage Bankers Association average 30-year rate is going to, I think it's a little bit lower than that, like 6.85 or 6.9 or something. I think the Mortgage News Daily rate is a little more accurate, a little more up to date because it's daily real time, reported rates from lenders across the country. So 7.04% on average for a 30-year fixed conventional. And the bond market's now pricing in, I think, as of today, it's about a 55% chance of another rate cut before the end of the year.
Okay.
At the Fed's December meeting. But they're the bond market is pretty confident that there will be at least a rate cut of 0.25%, by the end of January. So either in December or January. As a reminder to our viewers, who I'm sure are savvy enough to already know this, but the Fed rate cut does not directly impact mortgage rates, but it does have effects on the overall financial system. And the bond market, which is what really directly influences mortgage rates, takes cues from what the Fed is doing and thinking and projecting to see where things like inflation and unemployment and the national debt are likely headed. Mm-hmm. So right now, the reason that things are relatively stable around 7% and have been really since kind of right around the election is that it's kind of a wait and see, the incoming administration policies, if they will encourage economic growth while not reigniting inflation and also not expanding the federal deficit and national debt. And so those are the things that the bond market's watching. And so kind of a way to think about it is, if inflation kicks back up, rates are going to go back up there. Almost certainly. If let's say the incoming administration is able to, foster economic growth and shrink the deficit, and not reignite inflation and keep that under control, rates will go down in that environment. But so much remains to be seen at this time. And so that's why there's not a whole lot of movement right now in mortgage rates, and it's kind of just hanging out around 7%.
There we go. I can see how enthusiastic you are about your mortgage rates right now.
I know.
Okay, you gotta tell him. You gotta tell him. Go ahead, say it. Our little joke here. But
Oh yeah, I said before we got on camera, I said the beatings will continue until morale improves, and that's what it feels like every day, logging on and looking at the rates. But there are little pockets, some interesting products that have gotten closer to kind of what the average market rate is. So sometimes we're seeing things like investor, it's called like DSCR loans, like debt service coverage ratio loans, that are kind of close to like what the Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac 30-year fixed rate might be on a given day, which is an interesting thing to see those kind of closer to the going rate. Also, like, I know I send business, I broker loans sometimes to Bank of Hawaii, and their adjustable rate mortgages right now are really good, and they're there's some, you can lock in an interest rate for up to like 10 years, at like a fixed rate before it starts adjusting, well into the sixes on a lot of their products right now. And so, there's some interesting things to be enthusiastic about. I also did want to mention real quick, speaking of the Pines, for all of our viewers, the Pines is a condo project that's pretty easy for a lender to approve and close on, largely because they are detached condo units. So that's a distinction that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac makes with condo types, is like, if it's a detached condo, it's far less difficult to get it approved.
Mhm. In fact, shout out to Travis. We on our Pines condo, Travis was able to get our people in their mortgage and close it within 30 days. And our sellers certainly loved that. So thank you, Travis. In fact, somebody said, I don't know if you know this, but a realtor called and said, what happened with that transaction? I'm like, it closed in 30 days. Who was your lender? I'm like, Travis. He can close it up pretty good in that complex.
Well, thank you. And I will add that both of the signers on the buyer side were in separate locations off island, right? So we had kind of a cross-country FedExing of paperwork that we had to coordinate around a holiday weekend to get everything in place to make sure that we had everything to fund the loan, and then wait 2 days for it to record. So we crunched that into that 30-day timeline.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And I'll tell you, conversely, we just closed a condo today where we got into contract with them in early September, because they chose the wrong lender. They chose 3 lenders who couldn't close on that deal, and they were all off island, that it took a very long time for our seller to be able to close that loan. So I would say, people, if you can get a local lender, please do so. In fact, I've talked to a variety of realtors who actually demand that their buyers coming in to get their listings are saying, you know what, we want to see that you're using a local lender. It just, the holdup level, especially on what's happening with these insurance, with this condo complex that we were dealing with, the master insurance policy was a little strange. And a lot of the big lenders just didn't want to deal with it. And so, like you said, since you guys know what's happening with the local problems and issues, I think you're a little bit more nimble to probably try and find a way to deal with it.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Love that.
So prognostication as we go through the holiday season. What do you think January is going to bring? You're going to see maybe a lower, and again, though, they might lower the rates, but it might not hit the mortgage market, right? So as we head in, when do you think you're going to see like that they're going to see what the new administration is doing enough to make a decision about what they're going to do with the market? March?
Yeah. Yeah. Probably spring, summer. I don't know how much we'll be able to know by the end of January. Right now, mostly what is being watched is inflation data, unemployment data, things like that, and consumer spending, the holiday shopping season. is ramping up. And so projections from places like Target and Amazon are going to be, and Walmart are going to be closely watched. Target, I think the other day kind of, I think they said something about I think they revised their expectations a little bit lower for this holiday season, which kind of spooks some people in the market.
Yeah.
Because that's, usually not awesome for the economy.
No, it's not awesome.
If people are like,
No,
what, we're going to
it's great
spend
for
less.
consumerism because they should stop buying crap at Target. But that's okay. Buy local, everybody.
Right. Yeah. But like when people are like, we'll spend less this year on Christmas than we did last year. The market doesn't love that. The stock market doesn't love that. But yeah, so consumer spending, but especially inflation and unemployment. And then beyond that, the Trump cabinet secretary picks. So still waiting to see who he wants to put forward for the Treasury secretary.
Mm-hmm.
But so the market's going to watch that closely. I think he picked a commerce secretary, and it's some, Wall Street guy, but like a pro tariff kind of guy. So yeah, just we'll see. I think the spring, some things will probably start taking shape that'll tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. We're not going to use that word doom spending anyway. So we hope that as we head into 2025, that we were pretty optimistic in this last summer about how 2025 was going to shape up. So hopefully we'll still be able to keep that optimism going. So in general, I'm bringing you guys all back into line here. It sounds like, like listening to all you guys with the days on market kind of going up, it looks like we did have a soft fall. And, does anybody want to just say, man, we're going to go gangbusters in 2025? Or does everyone kind of think that it's just kind of
It sounds like it's too early to tell at the end of the day. We're still in that. If we got rid of the indecision, things would change, right? But we're still in the indecision, right? And that's the question of when is it going to end? And it sounds like once we roll into the next year, it should everything should kind of cement on what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But according to Travis, it sounds like there's a lot of things that have to line up to that we have to put all together with all those crazy things that could have to come together to make things work right.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me ask you guys, my little realtor friends, if someone is telling you right now that they want to sell their house right now, knowing what you just heard, how would you tell them to price their house? Aggressively?
It depends on their motivation. Do they have to net a certain amount? Are they willing to wait? Are they having in a month? There's variables, I feel like.
Would you tell someone not to put their house on the market until February or March?
No.
No, because then their perfect buyer could show up next week. You never know. You want to give it as much time and as much opportunity to sell as possible.
Okay. So
And the market could be worse in February, right? It could.
We never know, right?
It could be higher. There could be, no, I would never do that.
Yeah. Okay. So then if you're going to sell. Don't wait.
Right.
Can't time the market, right? Because when you try and time the market, sometimes bad things happen because you don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do know one thing though. If you don't have a mortgage yet or you need a financial plan, get one. Contact Travis. He'll at least set you up so as you're heading into the next year, you can at least be ready to go. We just talk about this, that even though the market looks like it's slowing down, it's gotten to the point where everyone is just used to saying, you know what, if you're going to come look at the house, make sure that you have a pre-approved buyer. And also you guys know that we've been working, especially with Real, Delaney and myself, Eric and Amber. We've got like a 1-day contract for buyer representation. So this whole concept that we've been working with the NAR settlement this year of having you guys sign buyer agreements. It's what they do in America nowadays. But if you don't want to do a long-term agreement, even though you should, because we all rock, there is opportunities for you to like actually get a chance to see some houses, make it easy for you. So now is a really good time to, again, if you are here for the holidays and you want to see some properties, it's a good opportunity. And
I
so,
got a little bit to add to that. That we did one that it was ours was for 3 days is what we did, and that way, because the person was if it didn't work out with this house, they were going to go somewhere else and look, and we wouldn't have been able to cover it anyway. So it was an easy one, because I know some people are afraid of getting locked into this long buyer agreement that that they might not be happy with. So this is kind of there are ways of getting around it, and it's not that big and scary of what it is. And most of the time, there is something called a seller concession, which they offer to cover the real estate buyer's fees, right? And so most of the times it's the buyer does not have to cover it. So just in case anybody's worried that they're going to get stuck with a 2.5% on top of everything else, it hasn't played out as much as people had thought on the national side. Unless anybody else has seen something different.
no.
No, the stats that I've seen are that buyer commissions, it is early to like be pulling that many stats, but that buyer commissions have not on a national level gone down at all.
There we go.
Or so it's pretty much same.
Yeah. In fact,
And what I tell my listings, my sellers,
Mhm.
I say, even if you have a specific amount built into your listing contract, everything's still negotiable, just like it always has been.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. And such another thing too, that when we talk to our sellers also about bringing, just paying the commission for the incoming buyer, it's a marketing fee. You want somebody to see your house, and you want them to come in and everything else. It's cost of business. So yeah, we haven't had any problems with it, and we've knock on wood, we've closed like 13 transactions this year, and every single one of them is paid commission on both sides. So we thought that was the biggest worry. I can remember in March. Now we have to worry about the economy. So it's always something in real estate. So, but you guys, I think that people at the end of the day still want to move to Hawaii, and we still don't have enough inventory. And so I think the housing prices are going to remain stable. Maybe there's a sale, 6%. That's good. But if anyone's waiting for the housing market to collapse in Hawaii, I think you're going to still be waiting. So buy if you need to. It's a good place to live, as you guys are free.
Yeah, as the saying goes, the baby boomers still have money no matter what happens, right? That they have acquired so much wealth that it's just kind of like, oh, they want to move to Hawaii. Okay, the question is, did they do it too late? When you're 75 or 80, it might be too late to move to Hawaii, but whatever.
Yeah, we were going to do a video about that. Like, is it every time too late? And we've seen some people who've waited to retire until they're 75, and you still want to be able to go out in the water and go hiking and everything else. So don't wait forever. And 2025 sounds like a great year ahead of us. So I'm going to wish all of you guys a very happy Thanksgiving. And for our viewers on YouTube, please make sure that you, if you're thinking about buying, our realtors, obviously, they come here to be able to give this information to you guys as a service to the public, but also because they want to get paid. So we would love to make sure that if you guys like what you get, please use one of our realtors and partners, Eric, me, and then our mortgage partner, Travis. And you can join the Ohana at 365hawaii.com. And you can also drop questions down below. And if you guys have this happened, just when you guys know, somebody tried to email Amber at the wrong email address. So if you do not get a response from one of our realtor partners, thank you for reaching out to me and saying, I can't seem to reach them. Please do that, because there's usually a reason. And this one was because somewhere the email address was incorrect. So our people are responsive, very cool, and also knowledgeable. So thank you guys all for being here, and we'll see you guys in December. Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha.